Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nosacapital coming to you on a rather rainy evening from the southern hemisphere. I must say, ladies and gentlemen, an absolutely miserable day, but nothing we can do about that. That's just the weather. Apologies for not making a rough and ready in recent times. Unfortunately, other commitments sort of got in the way, and I thought if I was going to do one, let me do one that at least should meet the standards of what was passed. I don't think I had much to say, apart from the fact that I was busy, but I really didn't have much to say because the markets were just doing something else. But anyway, enough of that. Let's just get on with it. Okay, we're going to start off with the incoming token unlocks. We know what that is. Just keep an eye out, ladies and gentlemen. Arbitrum was today, a few hours ago, actually. And there's going to be Yala, there's going to be Asta, there's going to be ZK Sync, I beg your pardon, in about 15 hours. Asta in about 7 hours. ApeCoin again, 20 hours. ApeCoin seems to be something that always keeps coming up every single time. I'm just kind of wondering about that. We've got Pixels, 2 days time. Most of these cryptos, I have absolutely no idea what they do. But I thought, well, for those of you who may be invested in some of these cryptos, I strongly recommend that you keep an eye out on these things, because in some cases they're going to affect the overall price depending on how much is coming into the market. So keep an eye out for that. So I think there's enough of that. There's about 2 sets, about roughly 100 cryptos we've looked at. 100 tokens in terms of the unlocks. So let's look at the market fundamentals. Crypto market overview. As we can see, Bitcoin 94,441, 33,095 for Ethereum, 922 Binance, and $137 Solana, and of course $2.18 for XRP. Fair and greedy 18, which means it's an opportunity. Maybe you could wait till it drops about 10 and then start buying. Keep an eye out for that. But this is a very good sign that this is the time to start buying something. Altcoin season, ladies and gentlemen, at 32, that is neutral, as you know. Bitcoin season 0 to 25, altcoin season 26 to 74, and 75 to 100 is for the altcoins. So, at the moment, this is neutral. And nothing to see here, really. I think that one should be in Bitcoin, if you ask me, but for now. And as I've always said, always invest in quality. You know, the crypto market cap, for instance, ladies and gentlemen, 3.21 trillion. As of October, we were at approximately 4 trillion. So that's dropped a bit. And one of the things that is very interesting here is the crypto ETF's net flow. It's got minus 670 million. And that's pretty obvious. You can see that there's a net outflow than inflow, particularly over the last 30 days. Bitcoin at 58.9%, Ethereum 11.7%, and others 29.4%. We will start considering an altcoin season when Bitcoin is at about 50% or less. And of course, the altcoin season index is at 76 and above. But we should just have to wait and see. Okay, let's see something interesting. Should we look at the spot markets? I'm not quite sure there's anything interesting for us to see there. Okay, it's just the usual stuff. We've already looked at the market cap. Let's look at the Bitcoin treasuries. Okay, total supply held 5.04% of supply. Who's that? Okay, US country by breakdown. United States 90.5%. The Japanese had 2.9%. China 1.4%. I wonder what's this C. I'm not quite sure what that is. Canada, I think, is 0.9%. In terms of the Bitcoin holdings, we've got Strategy at 60.6%, followed a very, very, very distant second at 5.03%. The Mara Holdings, followed by XXI. And of course, another large others, but all that others will be in a very small percentage of things, I'm sure, because it's not going to be too much there. And these are the companies that have Bitcoin in their treasuries. Okay, we've seen the overall ETF flow. Let's look at the Bitcoin ETFs and see again a net outflow Bitcoin of $492.10 million. And it's pretty obvious over the last 30 days that this is a net outflow than inflow. You can just see. You don't need to. It's not rocket science. You can see that. Ethereum ETFs, net outflow of 177.90 million. Again, looking at it visually, one can easily see that this is a net outflow. And I think we're going to get some of this. Now, some people are thinking, panicking on the basis that, these guys are selling. I think many people need cash. Cash is going to be very important for the next few months, because having some, not just to spend, but also to invest in the things that are required, whether it be capital investments or maybe lifestyle chips. Who knows? But we'll see. Okay, let's move on to the charts. And we're going to start as usual with Binance. And we've got 1, 2, 3 areas of, I think there's an overlap here of the areas of demand, and you've got one area of supply. As you can see, this is the point of control, and the price of Binance is just about the point of control. From the double top, we're looking at a price of $345. I doubt very much that we'll get there. I think the worst case scenario for this particular crypto would be about 743, which is at the value area low. I think that's the worst case that we are going to get. Plus the fact that we do not have that much volume momentum, as we can see here. The markets have kind of surprised everybody, but I don't think this is usual, because we didn't have anything to cause any major concern. Binance still reigns supreme, as you well know. I'm sure you've heard the stories about their manipulation using the market maker Wintermute, but that's irrelevant to this part of the discussion. That's for some other time. Anyway, they'll always be relevant. Binance will always be relevant, regardless. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin now. The double top here is for more, I think it's more poignant, but before we get there, let's look at our areas of demand and supply. We've got 2 areas of demand there, as you can see, and we've got 1, 2, 3 areas of supply. My last video, I thought that at this value area low, I didn't think Bitcoin will break the 100 barrier. I thought if it breaks the 102, worst case scenario, 100 will be where it finds support. Unfortunately, it's broken through. But here it's in an area of demand. And that area of demand, there is an overlap here, which means this makes this area very strong. Nevertheless, if one were to look at the lower time frames, one would see that there's a lot of selling activity going on. I think we might take a look at that a little bit later. But having said that, if one looks here, we've got the patterns here, 2 double tops here. There's a double top at the top. And then this double top deposits that Bitcoin will fall to about 88,204. With the current move in Bitcoin and the current strength of the volume momentum to the downside, I wouldn't put it past it getting to this price before we can really see some respite. I actually, to be honest with you, I actually have a position at about 88,000 to head back upwards on the derivatives market, but we shall see whether that's going to happen or not. As always, we're never always right. And if one looks at what's going on, one will find that there's many a time where we as analysts, we look at everything and everything looks right, and we've seen the past patterns, and we we make a prediction, or at least a suggestion or an opinion of what is probably going to happen, and it doesn't turn out to be that way. And this is one of them. I genuinely believed that it was not going to go below 100 because I thought that was going to be the area of support, but I was wrong. I admit I was wrong. If we look very quickly, let's look at the lower time frames. Let's switch this over to Bitcoin very quickly. And this is on the 5 minute. Let's go to the 15. Well, let's look at the 30 minutes. Let's have a look. Let's see what do we see here? Because if you look at the let's stay in there. If you look at the 5 minute chart, you can see that if you look at these orange circles here, you can see the size depicts the amount of money that's being put on liquidity. And if you look at this amount of money here, excuse me, sorry about that. If you look at this area, you can see, let me move this away because that will keep jumping and disturbing us. You can see a lot of follow through to the downside. And now somebody here, as you can see here, somebody has taken a big position here to sort of drive the price back up. But so far things are still coming down. So this entire buying has been absorbed. Now, you always, in order to see what's really going on, you have to come down to the lower time frames, which is what we've done with the 5 minute here in Bitcoin. So we're not completely out of the woods yet, which is what I was telling you here. So don't be surprised if we see Bitcoin head to the 88,204. So I'll just say 88,000. Do not be surprised that we could hit that spot. Okay, let's move on to Ethereum. And Ethereum has got one area of demand, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's an overlap. This is quite strong when you get overlaps. Areas of supply. Again, we've got low volume nodes here, or in our parlance, we call them ice cream scoops. There's a nice big low volume node here. Don't be surprised you see the price coming all the way down to about 2,000, let's say 2,637, let's say 2,640. So do not be surprised if you see a further drop. We might get some resistance, or I beg your pardon, some support around this area, but we shall have to wait and see. Again, volume, as you can see, our volume momentum is going to the downside, and it's quite strong. And for quite a while now, it's the lower highs and lower lows on Ethereum. Now, anything can happen. Let's just have a quick look. Let's see. Let's look at Ethereum. Again, as you can see, this is the 5 minute chart. I'm deliberately looking at using the 5 minute so that you can see the amount of buying and selling going on. And you can see as the orange went all the selling, and then there's a big buy here, but we still had the follow through. There's another buy here, but we still have the follow through. So some sellers are absorbing all the buying that is trying to be done. Look at that area being absorbed because it kept going to the downside. More buying here has also been absorbed. So we shall just have to wait and see. Which is why one shouldn't be surprised if the price comes all the way down here to about 2,640, as I said. Nothing is set in stone, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, but keep an eye out. Okay, let's look at Solana. Solana's got one area of demand, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, no overlaps this time in the areas of supply. Solana has fallen dramatically, and that's not unusual, because I think Solana is down by about 40. I think it's about 40. Is it 45%? Something like that. I remember seeing something about that. I posited that the bottom for Solana will be at about 126. It's about 136 at the moment. Again, if you look at the volume profile, fairly even, so nothing unusual going on there. However, the volume momentum is to the downside. And if we were to come over here and just have a look at the lower time frame, and in this case 5 minutes, again I'm just using the 5 minutes to illustrate the point. Again, as you can see, to the downside. Look at all the volume provided, the selling volume provided, and there's been about 2 big buys here, and you've got a follow through. Another big buy again, as you can see at the back of this orange circle here. Another big buy, but we still had follow through, which means that all the buying has been absorbed. I suspect that we would go all the way down to about 126 before we begin to get some level of respite. But this is the crypto market. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. I mean, if it breaks the 126, we might come all the way down to this area at about 113. I think it is. Let's see. Yeah, $112. So yeah, we could easily hit that. It wouldn't surprise me. Nevertheless, I think that if that happens and then we begin to see some kind of consolidation or some kind of accumulation there at that level, then I think it might just be an opportunity to buy. I mean, I think 112 would be a very good buy, and I don't think it's an opportunity anyone should pass up should that opportunity come. Okay, so we're going to be looking at SUI. SUI is just basically falling off a cliff here. If we look at it, it's bad. The only thing we see here are areas of supply. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this another overlap. So this area of overlap is very strong and has acted as resistance, as you can see. You can see the double tops there. Double top thing was about that we got earlier. Talked about $1.73. It's since breached that. So at the moment it's $1.68. It's now in the areas of, as you can see, remember what I always say about the volume profile. These areas here are very low volume nodes. Hence, the price goes up and down very quickly through these areas of low volume nodes, which we are looking at right now. This area here, I don't have any particular. I do not have any particular view as concerning the ultimate price. Let's try and this. Oh, I'm on the wrong chart here. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I should be on the 1 day. I was in the 15-minute. Let's go back to the, yeah, there we go. This is the 1 day chart. I beg my sincerest apologies. And let's see what might happen. Okay. I think our next port of call will be this area here. So let's do this there. So you're looking at $1.60. If it breaks that area, we've got some low volume nodes around here, and then there's some activity here. So we might just find some changes. I think $1.60 might be it. If not, we're going to be heading back to the value area low, which is at about $1.82. The areas of supply, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. As I said, the only areas of supply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actually areas of supply for SUI. These 2 areas here are quite small, so with enough volume momentum, we can easily break through. But it's going to be interesting to see if, and it'll be fascinating to see if this price breaks back up and heads back towards the point of control, which is about $3.43. That's where that might happen. And we just have to wait and see. But I think $1.60, if it breaks $1.60, then we are looking at about $1.12, which would be something like, I think this area here. $1.17 might be our next port of call if we break this. Let's go down to a lower time frame again. Let's look at the 5 minute and see. This is 15 minutes. Let's go down to the 5 minutes. We'll be looking at the 5 minutes. Let's look at the 5 minutes and see. As you can see here again, there's been a series of attempts buying volume here, but it's been broken through, which means the sellers have absorbed all the buying here. And we've got quite big circles here, as you can see. And this one here, this is some buying, but the selling has absorbed all the buying and is heading towards the downside. One wonders how long this will go on, but I think that it will be advisable for all of us to sort of mentally assume that it's going to fall quite to a much lower volume than expected. Nevertheless, at those lower levels, once we start beginning to see some levels of accumulation or some kind of consolidation there, then which might be accumulation itself, then it will be an opportunity to buy. I think that if one goes by previous examples when to accumulate, I think one would make mistake, particularly when you've got dramatic drops like we've got at the moment. Okay, so let's move on to Moodeng. And Moodeng all the way down, it's dropped, traded sideways, dropped. I think we're going to trade sideways again. So we've got 1, 2, 3 areas of supply and 1 area of demand. The area of demand is very, very slim and can just about hold its own, which it did in the past, as we can see here. I suspect that prices are going to come down to about 5 cents 38. Volume momentum is bad at the moment, but some decent volume momentum could see us get through these areas of supply and hit about 12 cents. And who knows, maybe when the altcoin season comes back, we can easily hit the 24 cents, as we can see at the value area high here. And of course, we have to get up to our point of control. Point of control is at about 14 cents. That should be something. I mean, if we break the 12 cents, we can easily hit the 14 cents will be the next port of call. But that'll be at the point of control. But at the moment, we are looking more or less like, I think you should expect something between 4 and 5 cents. I think that's what you should expect for SUI. I beg your pardon for Moodeng. I'm so sorry, not SUI. Moodeng, I beg your pardon. I think that's what's going to happen with this. Speculators, an opportunity for you to buy and pick these areas of supply and sell at those areas. Okay. Next is WIF. And again, we've got 1 area of demand and we've got 1, 2, 3 areas of supply. With this area here, there's an overlap between this area which makes it quite strong. I think this doesn't have much to drop, but if it does drop at all, I think the lowest it's going to get, I think we can rely on the 31 cents, about approximately 32 cents. I think we can rely on a whiff hitting 32 cents at its worst. And then trading back. I don't think it's going to, I mean, as you can see, this one here, as you can see, is when we had that flash crash. And it came all the way down to about, about 6 cents. So I don't think we're not going that low. But 31 cents is easily, or 32 cents is easily in the offing on this one. Okay. If there's any momentum at all, any volume momentum, as we can see in this area here, we can easily hit 55 cents because with enough volume momentum, we can easily hit our point of control, which is this area here, and that's exactly 55 cents, as you can see on the side there. Now, if it breaks that, there's not much to hold it back, and as you can see, it's a low volume nodes are in this area here, or as we like to, in our parlance, in the Nosacapital parlance, we call it the ice cream scoop. Another ice cream scoop there, which means that the price can easily go back up to about 90 cents after breaking the 55 cents with the point of control. I think that would be what we could expect. I think that's what we should expect from WIF. And speculators, keep your eye out. You can easily buy in around this area here, and maybe at 31, between 32 and about 40 cents. Where speculators can buy and then sell at about 90. This is the upper area here where you can sell and take your profits. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, look, the markets have been a bit bloody. Everybody got hurt. No one got away scot-free. People have been asking me, all the time that, so how do I sell? How do I trade this particular situation at the moment? The best way to trade it would be you hold your spot. Now, don't just hold spot. Your spot, remember, ladies and gentlemen, always hold quality. I will always say, always invest in quality. Always invest in quality. You've heard me say this a million times. Invest in quality, speculate on your price. So you're using your price speculation to hedge whether it's going up or down, but you got your spot. I think that's the best way to play it. Excuse me. I think that's the best way to play it. I think it's the safe way to play it. I think it's the sensible way to play it. While you keep your precious spot. This is not the time to start dabbling. But then again, some of you might even pivot completely from crypto into AI. But remember, now that the AI hype, not just the AI hype itself, but the AI bubble hype is also in the offing. And one has to watch that very closely and very carefully. And please do not forget that. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is just your friendly guy here, just giving his own opinion. Like and subscribe to the channel, please. That helps me. And hopefully I'll be able to make content far more regularly than I planned. Anyway, that's me. So keep your eyes and ears open and you're trading sharp. Have a good one. Bye.